Hey guys, my name is Riert. I'm making another country video, and in this video I will talk about how expensive is it to live in London. There's about 8.7 million people living in London right now, and that makes it the biggest city in the UK. I think everybody who has at least once lived in the United Kingdom has thought about how it would be to live in London. I have only been to London once, but I definitely enjoyed my visit, and probably, if I could afford it, I would want to live there as well. If you have watched any of my country videos, you already know that I will divide this video in different sections of information. Obviously, we will start with food, then we'll go into renting costs, jobs, salaries, taxes, public transport, and finally into leisure time activities and their costs. Although London is a big, beautiful city and the weather most of the times is a bit better than here in Glasgow, it is also one of the most expensive cities to live in UK. So, when I'm thinking about foods, I obviously mean McDonald's because I just love their French fries. Or chips, as they call them here. McDonald's regular meals start from £6, which is just a little bit more expensive than other cities in UK. Somehow McDonald's can change their prices depending on the living wage in different cities. I have noticed that both Edinburgh and Aberdeen McDonald's is just a little bit more expensive than in Glasgow, which is the same in London. Although the internet tells me that a meal for two in a restaurant would start from £50, I don't think that's necessarily true. When we were in London, we went to a very nice restaurant and we had 2 meals and drinks, and we only paid about £35. So, although London might be more expensive, you can still afford to eat there. At least a little bit. Foods in supermarkets like Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Lidl are about 15% more expensive than here in Glasgow. And now let's talk about rent. Rent is one of the main reasons why London is so expensive. A quite alright one-bedroom apartment in London city centre will start from £1,600. And for comparison, that's about £1,000 more than in Glasgow city centre. But if you decide to live outside the London city centre, the rents will start up from £1,200 for a one-bedroom apartment. And that is about £700 more than in Glasgow. And if you want to buy an apartment in London city centre, that is going to be about 460% more than in Glasgow. So it's just a tiny bit of a difference, right? But remember, you still have to add utility costs, which will start from £140 a month. But the good news is that the internet prices are pretty much the same as here in Glasgow, and that means there's not going to be any problems with uploading YouTube videos. And now it's time to talk about transport. Although London has the same public transport as anywhere in the world, somehow they managed to make 3 of them quite legendary. So the first one are these weird old cabs or taxis that London is still using, and even though they're not very comfortable to ride in and they're really loud, they actually look pretty cool on the streets. I would assume they're more expensive than any normal city though. The next ones are these big red famous buses of London. They're also way too huge, way too loud and uncomfortable, but at least they cost £150. And maybe that's a UK thing, they just really love a super loud public transport. I don't know. And the last public transport that London is famous for is their underground railway, or what they call is the Tube. A quick fact, London is the first city in the world to have an underground railway. Isn't that interesting? London's Tube is a very complicated and overwhelming structure of different underground railways. And depending on destinations, or what they call zones, the prices may differ. The cheapest zone in London starts from £6.80, and in comparison to Glasgow's subway, you can ride for £1.45 forever. Round and round and round. But in their defense, London's Tube is so much more complicated and there's so much more railways going on. So a quick comparison how London's Tube looks like and the Glasgow subway. So it does make sense that Glasgow can afford to have it a lot cheaper. And if you want to get a monthly ticket, it only costs £131, which is £80 more than the Glasgow subway. I don't know, maybe the prices get a little bit more expensive because it also is becoming a little attraction for tourists, which I didn't have the chance to experience because I just didn't have that much money for a train ride. So how will you afford all these things in London? Let's talk about jobs. In 2018, the average salary in London was $34,000 a year and $2,500 a month after taxes. Bear in mind that that's the average, so you could get paid a lot less and a lot more. It's all up to you. Minimum wage at the moment in UK is £7.83 an hour. And in 2020, they're planning to raise it up to £8.75. The minimum living wage in London is £9.75, which reflects on higher housing costs, childcare and transport needs for the people living in the city. Though just like in every country, part of your salary is taken away by taxes and NHS, it's still a tiny portion in comparison to the other EU countries where taxes eat up most of your salary. Okay guys, are you bored? Let's just quickly finish up with leisure time activities and their cost, or whatever you do when you're bored. If you're just another architecture geek just like me, you will have a lot of fun in London because the city is full with beautiful streets, beautiful buildings to appreciate. You can also go to the cinema. The cinema tickets cost £12, but maybe you're a more classy gal or pal and you want to go to theater. There's over 100 theaters in London, so you definitely have options to choose from. Maybe you're a gym freak and you like working out. Fitness clubs or gyms will cost you about £45 a month. If you just want to go to a club and get wasted, alcohol here in UK everywhere is very expensive, so don't expect it to be cheaper in London. Shopping might be a bit pricier in London, but in all honesty, clothes are super cheap everywhere in UK in comparison to other European countries. Okay, that's it for this video. If you think any of the information is incorrect, write it in the comment section. Now tell me down below, after this video, would you be interested in living in London or not? You can also leave a guess which city I'm gonna do next. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!